Hey there, design cutters! Renee here with a tutorial for a jazzy Art Deco poster for a Valentine's Day dance. We'll use both Photoshop and Illustrator in this one. In Illustrator, we'll utilize pattern swatches and pathfinder tricks to create an intricate looking layout. After that, we'll move everything into Photoshop and build a unique background texture and overlay everything with a vintage gold shine. Follow along by downloading the freebie pack at designcuts.com. We'll also be using several vintage-style fonts that are freely available online. We'll use New Year 2017 by Faraz Ahmad, Birmingham Titling by Paul Lloyd, and Omnibus Busarama by Alan Carr. Open Illustrator and go to File New. In the New Document dialog box, enter a document name, then a width of 18 inches and a height of 24 inches. Then click OK. In the Freebies folder from the Paper Town, open Art Deco Seamless Patterns in Illustrator. Use the Selection tool to drag across both patterns on the file and press Command-C to copy. Then you can go ahead and close the file. In the main layout file, press Command-V to paste. If you look in your swatches palette, you'll see that both patterns are now included as swatches, so you can go ahead and press Delete. We'll apply the patterns from the swatches palette, so we don't need the pasted in shapes. Select the Rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that covers the entire artboard. In the Swatches palette, select one of the new swatches, 15, for the fill color. Select None for the stroke color. Next, we'll edit the pattern so it has a transparent background. It's currently white or off-white. In the Swatches palette, double-click the pattern swatch to open the pattern editor. When the pattern opens, select the Group Selection tool. You may have to hunt and peck a little on the pattern to find a square with a fill color. They're offset from the main pattern pieces. Once you've selected one, go to Select, Same, Fill Color. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to None. At the top of the artboard, press Done. With the Rectangle tool, click once on the artboard and in the pop-up, enter a width of 15 inches and a height of 21 inches, then press OK. In the Swatches palette, select the other new pattern swatch, 3, for the fill color. To center the small rectangle on the artboard, open your Align palette, and under Align Object, select the icons for Horizontal Align Center and Vertical Align Center. If nothing happens, you might need to change your Align To settings. Next, we'll make the same adjustment to this pattern. In the Swatches palette, double-click the pattern swatch to open the pattern editor. In the pattern editor, select the Group Selection tool. On this pattern, the off-white fill color can be found on one of the fan shapes. Once you have it selected, go to Select, Same Fill Color. Then in the Swatches palette, select None for the fill color. At the top left of the artboard, click Done, and go back to your main artboard, which looks like a mess, but we're going to fix that. Switch to your main selection tool. With the smaller rectangle still selected, press Command-C to copy. We'll use this copy in a few minutes. Hold Shift and also select a larger rectangle in the background. Open the Pathfinder palette and under Shape Mode, select the icon for minus front. Now press Command-F to paste in place. Now we'll add a stroke to give some separation to the two patterns. Open the Swatches palette and click on the stroke color icon, then choose black. Next, open the Stroke palette and increase the weight to 4 point. Select the Rectangle tool. Click once on the artboard, and in the pop-up, enter a width of 13 inches and a height of 19 inches, then press OK. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to white, and we'll keep the thick black stroke. In the Align palette, select the Horizontal Align Center and Vertical Align Center icons. Now we'll dig a little deeper into the Pathfinder functionality. Select the Ellipse tool, click once on the artboard, and enter a width and height of 6 inches, then press OK. Position the circle so the center of it intersects the top left corner of the inner patterned rectangle. With your Main Selection tool, click once on the inner patterned rectangle and press Command-C to copy. Click off the artboard on the gray area so nothing is selected, then press Command-F to paste in place. Hold Shift and also select the white circle. In the Pathfinder palette under Shape Mode, select the icon for Intersect. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color back to white. We're going to change this to transparent later, but for now this will help us see what we're doing. Press Command-C to copy the new shape, then click off the artboard to deselect, and press Command-F to paste in place. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to black. Now we'll make this copy a little bit smaller. Hold Shift and click on the bottom right corner handle and drag up and to the left to reduce the size of the black copy until it's about 2¼ inches. Press Command-F to paste another copy of the partial white circle in place. Again, hold Shift and use the bottom right corner handle to reduce the size to about 1/2 inch. Next, we'll create a really simple ornament for the corner. Select the Pin tool. Click once under the smallest white quarter circle, and then click again about 1¼ inches diagonally down and to the right. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to none and the stroke color to white. Open the Strokes palette and increase the weight to 10 point, and next to Profile, select Width Profile 5. Switch to the Main Selection tool and click off the artboard to deselect, then select the Pen tool again. This time we'll create 2 points of a shorter line just above the first line. In the Swatches palette, increase the weight to 10 point, and next to Profile, select Width Profile 5 again. Switch to the Main Selection tool. Click off the artboard to deselect, then select the entire short line. Press Command-C to copy, then Command-V to paste. Drag the copy below the long line, then hover over the corner handle until you see the curved double-sided rotation arrow, and rotate the line until it's radiating out in the same relative direction. A little imperfection in placement will add to the authentic vintage feel of the Art Deco designs, so don't stress about getting the ornamental lines perfect. With your Main Selection tool, hold Shift and select each object in the top left corner, the quarter white circle, the quarter black circle, the tiny white circle shape, and the 3 lines. At the top of the artboard, go to Object, Transform, Reflect. In the pop-up dialog box, choose an axis of vertical, then press Copy. Hold Shift and use the Main Selection tool to drag the reflected items to the right side of the artboard until they line up with the right side of the inner patterned rectangle. Next, we'll select the objects in both top corners. Drag the Main Selection tool across the top of the artboard. This will select everything, including a few things we don't need. To deselect the objects we don't want, hold Shift and click on each to remove it from the selection. Go to Object, Transform, Reflect. This time choose an axis of horizontal and press Copy. Drag the copies down to the bottom corners of the inner patterned rectangle. This is where we'll get tricky with Pathfinder. We want to make sure that everything white is transparent because we'll need to isolate the black areas when we apply our gold texture in Photoshop later. Select all 4 of the large white circles. Press Command-C to copy. Now go to Object, Compound Path, Make. It'll change their order and make it look a little funny, but it's nothing to worry about. Hold Shift and also select the inner white rectangle. Open the Pathfinder palette and under Shape Modes, select Minus Front. Press Command F to paste the quarter circles in place, hold Shift, and also select the inner white rectangle. Press Command C to copy. In the Pathfinder palette, select Unite. Hold Shift and also select the inner pattern rectangle. In the Pathfinder palette, select minus front. Press Command F to paste both the inner rectangle and quarter circles in place, and in the Swatches palette, change the fill color to none. The last pieces we need to punch out will be the corner ornaments. Select any one of the white lines. Go to Select Same Stroke Color. This will select all of the white lines on the board. At the top of the artboard, go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. Hold Shift and also select the smallest white quarter circles in each corner. Go to Object, Compound Path, Make. Or you can also use the shortcut Command 8. We'll be punching these shapes out of the black quarter circles. So to do it all at the same time, we also need to turn our 4 black quarter circles into one compound path. So click off the artboard to deselect the white ornamental pieces, hold Shift and click on each of the 4 black quarter circles to select them. Then go to Object, Compound Path, Make. Hold Shift and click on any one of the white ornamental pieces to add them to the selection. In the Pathfinder palette, select minus front. A good way to test to see if you've actually made everything transparent is to draw a rectangle across the artboard and fill it with a bright color. Send it behind everything by going to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And then we'll just delete that when we're done. In the Swatches palette, change the stroke color on the ornaments to none, so we'll get a little more definition. Now select the innermost rectangle shape. Go to Object, Path, Offset Path. In the dialog box, enter an offset of -0.5 inches and click OK. And that's pretty much it for our frame. Now we'll move on to our content. Select the Type tool. Click once in the top middle of the artboard and type Applesauce Club, 10th and Pine. Switch to your selection tool. In the character palette, change the font to Omnibus Bussorama at 34 point. Open the paragraph palette and select Align Center. Center the type on the artboard by clicking on the horizontal Align Center icon in the Align palette. Now select your Type tool again. Click once at the bottom middle of the artboard and type February 14th, 2017, line break, and then 9 p.m. till sunup. Switch to your selection tool, and in the character palette, change the font to Bussorama at 60 point. Position about 3 inches from the bottom of the inner rectangle, and again use the horizontal Align Center icon in the Align palette to center the text on the artboard. Next up is our logo. We're going to type each element separately, then assemble them together. Select the Type tool and type "the." Switch to the Selection tool, click off the artboard to deselect the type. Select your Type tool again and type a capital C. Continue alternating between the Type tool and Selection tool to create each of the remaining pieces as independent objects. With the main selection tool, hold Shift and select both the and Valentine Dance. In the character palette, change the font to New Year 2017 at 52 point. Select the capital C and capital M. In the character palette, change the font to Birmingham Titling Regular at 255 point. Now select the remaining words from Cat's Meow. And in the character palette, change the font again to Birmingham Titling Regular, this time at 225 point. I'm also going to set my kerning to optical because it's going to make those letters look a little tighter. Use your selection tool to position the above the A in Cats and position the C at the front of the word but a little lower. Position the M to the right of the C, and then position the rest of the word meow after the M. Move Valentine Dance under meow so it's aligned with the right bottom of the W. Drag across all of the logo elements to select them and press Command G to group them together. In the Align palette, select Horizontal Align Center to center the logo on the artboard. Now we'll just add a few elements to make the content a bit more decorative. Select the Line Segment tool. Draw a line under the C in Cats. Hold Shift to draw a straight line. In the Swatches palette, change the stroke color to black. In the Strokes palette, increase the weight to 3 point. Switch to your selection tool. Hold Option and Shift, then click on the line and drag down about 1/4 inch to create a copy. Press Command D to duplicate the action, creating a third line. Select all 3 lines and press Command C to copy, then Command V to paste. Position the copies to the right of the S in Cats, aligned with the bottom of the letter. With all 3 of the copied lines still selected, drag the right handle out until the lines reach almost the end of the W in Meow. Now we'll add some decoration to the date and time area. Select the rectangle tool. Click once on the artboard and enter a width of 8 inches and a height of 2.75 inches. Then center the rectangle on the date and time. Click again on the artboard with the rectangle tool. This time, enter a width of 12 inches and a height of 1 inch. In the Swatches palette, change the fill color to black and the stroke color to none. Center with the date and time and the last rectangle. Next, go to Object, Arrange, Send Backward to position it behind the last rectangle. This will be important for our next step in the Pathfinder. We'll use Pathfinder again to knock out the middle portion of the black rectangle so we can see the date and time. Select the stroked rectangle around the date and time, press Command C to copy. Hold Shift and also select the long black rectangle. In the Pathfinder palette, choose minus front. That's why it's important for the stroked rectangle to be in front of the black rectangle. Press Command F to paste the stroked rectangle in place. Now we'll group a few things together to make our job easier later. Select the 6 straight lines from the logo and press Command G to group them. Select the location at the top of the artboard and the date time plus the ornamentation around it and press Command G to group those in a separate group. Then press Command A to select all. Hold Shift and click on the logo, then the location to deselect those groups, leaving only the frame and the 6 lines selected. Then we'll press Command G to group those together. Next, we'll move into Photoshop. Open Photoshop and go to File, New. In the New Document dialog box, enter a width of 18 inches and a height of 24 inches. Set your resolution to 300 ppi and your color mode to RGB. then click OK to create the document. Press D to make the foreground color black, then press Option Backspace to fill the background layer with black. Go back into Illustrator. Use the main selection tool to select the frame group. Press Command-C to copy, then go back into Photoshop and press Command-V to paste. In the Paste dialog box, choose Smart Object and press OK. Press Enter to complete the placement. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to 35 in the Artist Meth Freebies folder, and press Place. Hold Shift and use the corner handle to rotate the image 90 degrees. Release Shift and use the corner handles to make the image the same size as the artboard. Press Enter when you're done. Next, we'll want to go into the Layers palette. Double-click the name of the layer Vector Smart Object and rename it Frame. Hold Command and click on the thumbnail to the left of the frame layer to create a selection around it. Click once on the 35 layer to make it active, and at the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. In the Layers palette, click the eye icon to the left of the frame layer to hide it. Go back in Illustrator and select the group with the location and time. Press Command-C to copy. Back in Photoshop, press Command-V to paste. Select Smart Object and press OK. This one will paste in a little bit low, so you may need to manually move it up. Hold Shift and press the up arrow on the keyboard a few times until the placement in Photoshop matches the placement in Illustrator. In the Layers palette, double-click the layer name and change it to Location Date. Go to File, Place Linked, and select 77 from the Artist Meth folder. Press Place. Hold Shift and use the corner handle to rotate 90 degrees, then press OK. In the Layers palette, hold Command and click on the thumbnail to the left of the Location Date layer. Click on the 77 layer to make it active, and at the bottom of the Layers palette, select Add Layer Mask. Click the eye icon to the left of the Location Date layer to hide it. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to Speckled 10 in the Two Little Owls freebie folder. Press Place. Use the corner handles to increase the size until it fills the artboard, and then press Enter. In the Layers palette, drag the Speckled 10 layer down until it's just above the background layer. At the top of the Layers palette, change the opacity to 15%. Again, we'll go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to 6 in the Mix Pixbox Freebies folder. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to increase the size until it's large enough to fill the artboard. Press Enter when you're done. At the top of the Layers palette, change the opacity to 8%. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to Abstract Pastel 19 in the Ncape Freebies folder, and press Place. Use the corner handles to increase the size until it fills the artboard. And then press Enter. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to overlay and the opacity to 70%. Hold Shift and select Speckled 10. This will also select the layer between the two, which is layer 6. At the bottom of the Layers palette, select the Create a New Group icon. Double-click the group name, Group 1, and rename it Background Textures. At the bottom of the palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. Now we'll select our Brush tool. At the top left of the artboard, click the Brush Preview thumbnail to access the Brush Preset Picker. Select the soft round brush and set the size to 700 pixels. To the right of the preview thumbnail, set the opacity to 15%. On the artboard, brush over the location and the date-time areas. As you brush, the background textures will fade in those areas. This will help our information pop a little more, but try not to overdo it. We want it to be a subtle difference that won't really consciously register with the viewer. Next, we'll go back into Illustrator and copy the logo group, then paste it into the Photoshop file. Just like the last group, we'll have to manually move the logo up until it's in the correct location in relation to the 6 little lines. In the Layers palette, double-click the name of the layer and change it to Logo. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to Pink Golden Texture 4 in the Luotero Freebies folder. Make sure the image covers all of the logo and press Enter. In the Layers palette, hold Command and click on the thumbnail to the left of the logo layer. Click on the Pink Golden Texture layer, and at the bottom of the Layers palette, select Add Layer Mask. In the Layers palette, click the eye icon to the left of the logo layer to hide it. For our last step, we're going to add a little hint of paper texture to give this poster a realistic feel. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to 11 in the Unember Freebies folder. Use the corner handles to increase the size to the same size as the artboard and press Enter. In the Layers palette, drag this layer, layer 11, to the very top. Open the Adjustments palette and click on the icon for black and white. In the Properties box that opens, click the icon at the bottom left of the palette to clip the adjustment to only the layer below it. Still in the Adjustments palette, click the icon for Levels. Select the black slider on the far left of the histogram and move it to the right until the shadow input level is about 54. Select the white slider on the far right of the histogram and move it to the left until the highlight input level is about 223, and finally select the middle slider and move it until the mid-tone input level is 0.6. And then we'll click the far left icon again to clip to the 11 layer. In the Layers palette, click the 11 layer to make it active, and at the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to multiply. And we're done! We created a super cool Art Deco poster while mastering Pathfinder and Illustrator and having fun with textures in Photoshop. Whether it's your outcome for this tutorial or something new, head over to our Facebook page and share it with us. Let us know what you think in the comments below and give us a thumbs up if you like the tutorial. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/designcuts to get more video tutorials and regular updates, or visit us at designcuts.com. Thanks for watching. Till next time!